one God. We have finality of prophethood and life after death, but things are evolving. There's a strategic component here which the Quraysh don't know, because see, there are three levels. You can react, you can respond, or you can be proactive.
What's the difference between a reaction and a response?
Response is okay. It's a little better to respond than to just react. React is more knee-jerk.
Okay. Response is considered.
At least you're thinking about it.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sometimes defeat isn't measured in battles, it's measured in understanding. In today's session, we step into a rare conversation among the next generation of Quraysh nobles, Umar, Khalid, and Āmr, radiyallahu anhum, because they all became Muslim later on, as they assess the quiet brilliance of the Prophet ﷺ's move to send Muslims to Abyssinia. What they uncover is hard to admit. He is not just surviving, he's actually preparing. I'm Sajjad with another session of the Criterion Concepts Seerah podcast. With us is, of course, Assad Koshul, the founder of the series and the lead facilitator. And we're going to sit today to discuss this deliberation amongst these young Quraysh nobles and how they understand this emerging strategy. Assad, okay. I'll turn it over to you to talk to us about set the stage for us, basically.
Okay, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. So, I'm the founder of the curriculum, not the series.
Oh, it's
the series was, yes. So
it's this series that you're founding.
Yes. So the curriculum. Okay. So this scene, as our brother Sajjad has outlined, this is the preparations are being made by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, some of his followers, to migrate to Abyssinia, and there was a discussion previously at Dar al-Nadwa, at Quraysh headquarters, that what do we do with this migration, right? So this specific scene has Umar, Ikramah, Khālid ibn Walid-ra, ʿAmr bin al-Aas, and none of them are radiyallahu anhu yet, because none of them have accepted Islam of the four. Umar radiyallahu anhu and Khālid ibn Walid radiyallahu anhu and Āmr bin al-Aas, they say that the agenda here is being set by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What they say is, Umar says, should we prevent these people from going to Abyssinia? Should we just imprison them? And he's arguing that, that by them going internationally, it's a little different environment. And he says that Muslims have security in Abyssinia, and they can follow their faith in peace, and they will be able to propagate it among Arabs and non-Arabs. So Umar radiallahu anhu concludes that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being proactive and not reactive or responsive, right? And he's saying that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is planning for the future. And we have to keep in mind at this point, there are not even 300, perhaps, people who have come into Islam. Yes, into Islam. And Umar says, although the majority of the Quraysh is still with us, because even he hasn't converted, he says that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is looking to the future and planning, whereas we are a little confused. We just know what we don't want, but we can't set the agenda of what we do want.
And when he's saying we, he's also talking about the elders. This is young people getting together, relatively younger people. Exactly. And they're actually even venting here. And they're saying the elders are really not figuring this out.
Exactly. But these people, they're the younger generation, but they are also the children of the nobles. So they do have status in the society. For the most part, they're not the ones who are driving decisions yet.
Right.
Like Khālid ibn Walid, he being the military mind, he understands this as saying, you're halfway to victory if you know your adversary better than you know yourself. And the way he understands it is
halfway to victory
if you know your adversary very well. Okay. So what he's saying here is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam he's being a smart military commander. He would hold some troops in reserve. And he says by sending them to Abyssinia, these will be his troops in reserve. Even Āmr bin al-Aas sees this as a diplomatic mission, because he's the diplomatic mind of the next generation, and he's actually the one who's charged to go and bring them back.
Sure.
Which we all know
he's the appeal to the Nijas.
Yes, to Najashi. So what is happening here is this, and then Ikramah, being the son of Abu Jahl, says, all you're doing is praising Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all he's really done is send his people from here to flee persecution. So this is the thing, that even though Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not in a position to protect his followers from being tortured, he is still being proactive. And he sees that this is just not a move. Umar, Khālid ibn Walid and Āmr ibn al-Aas, these three, they see this is just not a move to protect the followers.
Can you say, just maybe tease into that a little bit? You said something about that even though certain followers are being tormented and whatnot, the Prophet ﷺ is still...
Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ at this point, he's not able to like go to the Quraysh, Abu Jahl, right? Or Umayyah bin Khalaf, right? He's not in a position to be able to go to people like this and say, and force them to stop torturing his followers. He's not in that position. He doesn't have the manpower, the military strength. Right. So this is where traditionally the way we understand this is the Muslims were sent there to Abyssinia.
Right.
But as we're going to do in this specific session, in the next one, we'll understand it's much more deeper than this. Because what's happening here is Suhail ibn Amr, who is a clan leader, his son Abdullah goes. No one is torturing him. No one is able to torture Abdullah. Abu Hudayfa, radiallahu, son of Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, his son goes. So the point is, it's very important to see that a lot of the upper echelon, Uthman radiallahu anhu went. Ja'far radiallahu anhu went. No one was torturing them.
Sure.
So this was just not a move to avoid persecution and torture. This was a strategic move. This was a move, first it involved foreign policy. The Prophet ﷺ is forcing the Quraysh to react to him sending a delegation, which now the Quraysh feel compelled to protect their ties with Najashi, and he's making them feel uncomfortable diplomatically. So you see, major strategic move. Another thing is that Rasulullah ﷺ understands if you create foreign alliances, that strengthens you locally and provides you political space to operate in the local theater which you are. So by him making this link to Najashi, it strengthens him locally.
Because he's got the outside...
Well, yes, he's just not confined to one geographical area. Right. So even if you're small, but by having foreign alliances, that strengthens you diplomatically and creates political space. Again, the way the Rasulullah ﷺ is building the organization that he's the head of. Now the organization has international presence.
Right.
And here, the Quraysh, this is what Umar radiallahu anhu, Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, and Āmr ibn al-Aas see very clearly. They recognize that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a superior leader and a superior strategist.
Right. And I think some of them actually say, sounds like you're praising them.
Yeah, you're praising Muhammad, Ikramih. That's what he says. Well, all you're doing is praising Muhammad. Well, all he really is, we're in control here. All he's doing is sending us some from his followers to get away from us. Right, which is a very shallow interpretation.
This was not a retreat or something like that.
It was
This
not.
was actually very strategic and almost holding key assets in reserve.
Exactly. Like even this, that the fact that some of the tribal elders, like I mentioned, Utbah ibn Rabi'ah's son, Abu Hudayfa, Abdullah ibn Suhail ibn Amr's son go. This puts those clan leaders in a very difficult situation, right? Because they don't want their sons to go to a foreign land.
Right.
And no one is torturing them, and it's also an embarrassment for them that they're leaving Mecca.
Right. They're not able to hold them back.
Exactly. So what it is this is also an embarrassment, a political embarrassment. We mean it in this context for some of the clan leaders.
Right. And so basically Quraysh is now effectively in a no-win situation.
Exactly.
Whichever way they respond, they're losing something.
Exactly. Because now the Ummah, the Muslims, have an international presence.
Right.
And
so it's a foreign policy.
Exactly. And there is a certain thing in which they're saying that the religion is going to be propagated among non-Arabs. So there's a positive racial component to this move.
Right. So now it's gone. I mean, I guess that was partly there in Mecca as well with the slaves and whatnot, but now it's gone to a whole other level.
It's a whole nother level. Exactly. And you see, the migrants place the Quraysh, they're boxed in. Because if they're accepted in Abyssinia, they're reserves for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his message and his movement.
Right.
If, as some of the Quraysh, as Abu Jahl say, that they are going to end up being killed there, right? Because Najashi, those people have a different religion, and he has cardinals and religious authorities that he has to accommodate, then that's an embarrassment that your own people from your land went to another land, they were killed in a foreign land.
I mean, it also, I mean, feels like, well, I think two things are coming to mind. First, these people who are deliberating here, they're actually, you know, they're praising the Prophet ﷺ's worldly tactics,
strategic vision in this world.
In this world,
yes,
and that's something that I think we very often today we forget that that's very important.
Exactly.
You want people to understand that there is a strategic and worldly accomplishment. Of course, you know, you're not going to use illicit means to accomplish that, and nothing here was illicit, but you still, nevertheless, you do want to accomplish in the world so that, you know, others can see that there is something beyond here. There's a depth here that maybe we didn't realize before.
Yes, exactly. No, in the sense that this is where Islam is a little unique as an intellectual force, that it can help solve worldly problems of not just people who are members of the faith. You know, for example, addiction, like these type of things, right? And so here what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is doing is he has strategic foresight. He is sending the people. Even though at this point in time, the Muslims are a much weaker party than the Quraysh, right? Physically, militarily, economically. Yeah. They're the much weaker party. Yeah. In terms of when we classify the three instruments of power, like money, financial strength, political power, and military, right?
Right.
And the Muslims at this point, and those three instruments are weaker party. But even then, what's really encouraging when you really look is he's outmaneuvering the Quraysh and their brain trust. He is putting them in a situation that, okay, he's creating an international component to the competition between him and them. He is creating a foreign alliance. By doing this, he's creating political space more for him to operate. Right. He's forcing them to react, and they do react, right? That's why they send Āmr ibn al-Aas. Let's go bring them back.
Sure. Okay. Sure. And the premise there, I mean, to the best of my recollection, was that, you know, he has a relationship. So based on that relationship with the Najashi, he should be able to bring these people back.
Yeah, and his father has a relationship. Right. And again, they have economic ties. Right. So the way that Quraysh see, okay, Abu Jahl first says, okay, good, then we don't have to be polluted here with their presence. Let them go there, right? But then the exact opposite happens. What happens is that they get there, they're accepted, and now, okay, we need to bring them back because they're even now interrupting our foreign alliances. And keep in mind, they used to trade with Najashi.
Right.
And so it also interrupts their economic lifeline.
Right.
Not the only lifeline, but one of the major ones.
Yeah, of course.
So now they have to deal with reputation management, they have to deal with these optics, and they have to deal with these things. And it's a strategic move. And we should understand it within the context that it is, because generally, how did we understand it when we went through Sunday school? They were sent there to escape persecution.
Right.
But when you look at the people who went, like Ja'far radiallahu anhu does not come back until after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah signed.
Yeah. So they were there.
They were there for a specific reason.
They had planted basically themselves there, and it was almost like an outpost. I think we used that word before, right? I mean, it was almost as though there were people on reserve, right, who would be able to come back at some point and then add their depth and their presence. And going back to that point about this deliberation being impressed by the Prophet ﷺ's tactics and accomplishments and achievements, it also, I think, opens the door for them to realize that, you know, whatever is driving this, you know, whatever that vision is, whatever that message is something that is much, much more viable than they ever thought that it was.
Exactly. So this is not just a hodgepodge now. There's a vision here. The message is okay, we have one God. We have finality of prophet and life after death, but things are evolving. And there's a strategic component here which the Quraysh don't know. Because see, there are three levels. You can react, you can respond, or you can be proactive. And this is the real important lesson, I think, for us in this case.
What's the difference between a reaction and a response?
Well, response is okay. It's a little better to respond than to just react. React is more knee-jerk.
Okay.
React is more knee-jerk.
Response is considered.
At least you're thinking about it.
Okay.
But this is where, you know, we understand that even in this specific situation, the Muslims have fewer in number. They have a small fighting force. They're financially, you know, some of them are already de facto being locked out of the economy of Mecca, right? But even here, the Prophet ﷺ is the agenda setter. He's the one who's proactive. And he's forcing, in this case, the stronger party, which is the Quraysh and Dar al-Nadwa, to react to him, to respond to him. And I think in our contemporary situation, we have to ask ourselves, are we reacting, are we responding, or are we being proactive?
Right. And I mean, here the Prophet ﷺ is like basically he's writing the playbook.
Yes, the prophetic methodology is to be proactive. So if you're always reacting and always responding, you are not really aligning to the prophetic methodology. And the argument that we might be weak in certain areas is not a valid argument, because here the Prophet, in terms of, again, was smaller in number, financially weaker, etc.
Right, but nevertheless, he was proactive.
He was proactive, right. And this is very important. A very important takeaway here is it's important to be proactive, to have strategy, to have thought out things, to think beyond the next week or the next quarter.
Right. Yeah, long term.
Long term, exactly.
What happens when you're always reacting instead of setting the narrative?
Well, if you're always reacting, you are more likely than not going to lose and continually lose, even if you have history on your side and legality on your side. Because as a general rule, we learned this even in business, right? Someone else is constantly setting the agenda, then you're on their agenda.
If somebody else is
constantly setting the agenda, you're on their agenda.
Right, correct.
Exactly. Unless you have your own agenda.
Right.
And so reacting, we understand the need to respond to certain things. But as a general rule, we are very subject to emotional manipulation, and we are reactive.
Right.
And it's very clear in every theater, right? And so here what you see is the Quraysh are reacting. That's their posture. What should we do? Should we even prevent them from going? Should we imprison them? And the decision taken, it's good that they leave. But then what happens is when they leave, they realize, wait, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has created a foreign alliance, they've gained acceptance, they're gaining strength, they're safe, and our foreign alliance has been damaged.
Right.
Our economic ties are going to be negatively affected.
Right.
And let's go try to bring them back.
Right.
And which we all know that that diplomatic effort failed and failed miserably.
I mean, there's also just one more thing comes to mind here. I mean, Prophet ﷺ sending this delegation effectively, right, to Abyssinia, there was no established connection at the time, meaning, between the Muslims who were they were a new entity.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
no, there might have been at a personal level, people may have gone there for trade, which again, I've done that level of research, right? But this was the first time Muslims were going there.
Right, and they were going there as Muslims.
As Muslims.
And I mean, effectively, they were going there to ask for some sort of refuge or some sort of permission, right? I mean, they could not have stayed without permission. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the other maybe something to reflect on is that the Prophet ﷺ didn't have a letter of invitation.
Yes.
Right? Saying, hey, whenever you and your people want to come,
yes,
you have a place here. Right? I mean,
exactly.
This was like cold calling on a different level and basically just sending a whole group of people and saying, there's a good person there, go talk to him and go make the appeal and, inshallah, something will happen. So, there's a tremendous amount of risk-taking there as well.
Yes, I haven't done this level of research. Did someone go prep it? I don't think so, right? But this we know, the Quraysh were happy to see them leave, said, listen, they're going to foreign land, there's a foreign religion, Najashi has his cardinals, and they're not going to be successful there. Right. That was their assessment, at least a collective assessment of the Quraysh headquarters. Yeah. And the exact opposite happened.
That was the assessment of the elders in Quraysh, not necessarily the young people.
Well, some of the youngers, again, they're asking good questions, right?
Right.
But they weren't sure. So Umar says, we don't know what to do, but we just know we don't want what Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is doing.
Right. We don't know what to do, but we don't want that to happen.
We don't want that to happen. For lack of a word, a negative strategy is not a strategy. To saying this is what you don't want to happen. I mean, the focus should be on what you want to happen.
Right. That's when you get to be proactive.
Proactive, exactly. So,
So, anything else that you want to wrap up on?
So what happens here, because of the foreign alliance, it also gives them some level of credibility,
Right.
Diplomatic cover, right? Here, you see the two parties. There's a strategic, there's one party strategic. In this case, the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. The others are reactive. And that's the key takeaway here in this specific thing, that we have to understand that the prophetic method is planning and strategic. If we are consistently reacting, we need to really sit back and reflect on what we are doing.
I mean, there are times when you do have to react or respond.
But they should be the exception.
Right.
Except,
the rule should be that you're actually being proactive and setting the agenda. Even, and another lesson here, just to repeat, even if you're in the minority or you're not as
weaker
powerful,
position,
in a weaker position, etc. In fact, I think the argument can be made is if you're in a weaker position, it is essential to be proactive because
you have less margin for error.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. You have much less margin for error.
Correct.
Yes. So
basically, the Quraysh nobles didn't want to admire the Prophet ﷺ, but they couldn't help it because they saw what was happening. I mean, there's just no way that you can deny the wisdom and the forward thinking, because basically what happens is when someone else sets the pace, even those who oppose him end up dancing to his rhythm.
Exactly.
That's effectively what's happening.
That's what's happening.
He's setting the rhythm. He's setting the pace, and he's saying, "I'm going. You guys figure it out." And they're basically left trying to, figure it out.
Scramble. Yeah, they're scrambling.
They're scrambling. Exactly. So here's the reflection for today as we wrap up this session. Are you playing defense, or are you moving with intention, design, and purpose? Join us next time, inshallah, as we continue the conversation. Very, sort of exciting period in the Seerah that we're in now. Inshallah, see you for the next session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.